o'clock. Welcome to Tootell and Nuanez, Montana's only statewide sports talk show. Broadcast on 102.9 ESPN radio for Western Montana and across the state on SWX television.
I like football!
Now, sports talk from Montana for Montana. Live from the Kurtz Polaris studio, here is Ryan Tootell and Coulter Nuanez.
Hello, Montana. Finally, somebody who knows something about the offensive line. No, not you,
Shots
Coulter.
fired.
Not you. We also are going to have a state champion football player who's headed to the Grizzlies as part of our Senior Spotlight, Asher Croy. Hey, how are you, boys and girls? It's Tootell Nuanez, 102.9 ESPN Radio. Outstanding to be with you on this Thursday afternoon. Hope you are having a wonderful day. We appreciate you letting us be along with you wherever you are on the radios, across the state on SWX television. Hi, how are you? And around the world on the World Wide Web. That's why they start with the first W. 1029ESPN.com, that's where you go. You can listen live all the time on the stream, on your favorite device, phone, computer, etc. The stream is there thanks to Opportunity Bank. Your local bank, your opportunity. If you want to pick up your phone and call, you can do that as well. 361-3688, 361-3688. All guests join us via the Rangich Brothers RV phone line. Let's take a look at what we have in the show today. Excited about the show today. Right off the bat, we start with a bang, which is sort of depressing because it all goes downhill from here. But we have Chad Germer, the offensive line coach of the University of Montana, in studio with us. We will get to him here in just a minute or two. We also are going to play a little bit of blindside. I got some questions that I know Coulter is going to love. We're going to talk about Eastern Washington and some of their financial troubles, and Lynn Hickey, the athletic director over there, some of the tweets that she sent out, which we gave a cursory look at. We'll look at it in a little bit more depth. And two schools so far in the Big Sky Conference now have eliminated men's and women's tennis. And so we'll kind of take a look at the financial hit that is happening in general as a result of all that has befallen, the world at large, and how it applies to athletics in the Big Sky. So we will get to that. Top of the hour, excited to have Asher Croy as our senior spotlight. Asher, graduate of Bozeman High School, formerly of Huntley Project, went over to Bozeman High School. And Coulter, you and I were at the state championship game sideline where he ran for cha-ching 333 yards in the state championship of Bozeman victory, and was pretty unstoppable. Not only because of Asher, though. Let's shout out the O-line getting it done.
That's right. Actually, Bozeman had a great offensive line this year.
They did.
Talk about going out with a bang. I mean, man, you go 333 yards and 3 touchdowns on the road in the state championship at Naranche Stadium in Butte.
You know what?
You got bragging rights for a really long time.
333 yards is like 3 of my drives put together. That's what that is. So there you go. That's the show today. We're excited to have all of you along with us. But now, right off the bat, we're happy to have the offensive line coach of the University of Montana entering his 6th season of his 3rd tenure as the offensive line coach with the Grizzlies, 23rd year in coaching overall, and yes, former Grizz player himself, Chad Germer. Chad, thanks so much for being here, man. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on, and thanks for doing the math there on my I was trying to put the numbers together driving out here. Is it 20 or 21? But 23 years.
23
okay.
according to the website. Yeah. Actually, the website says 22, but it put it in 2019. So I'm counting this year. You're headed into the 23 overall.
Sounds
Does that sound right?
That's about right, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Just pull that thing over to you a little bit closer.
Yeah. Better?
I think let's talk about that, because most coaches are former players. But most former players are not coaches, if that makes sense. Like, most guys that play go on and end up doing other stuff. If you take 90 guys on a football team, handful of them might go into coaching. What was it for you when you started coaching in 1998 back with the Grizz? You'd been done with the University of Montana for a little while before you came on as the offensive line coach. You've only been an offensive line coach, Wyoming, UNLV, Montana. What was it that said, okay, this is what I want to do, and that you've continued doing it now for over 2 decades?
Yeah, I did have an interesting start to the profession. I got done playing in 91, and I tried to play professionally for a couple of years, and was getting close, but not
with the Bengals.
A few places, and you don't make a lot of money just trying to play in the league. So
man, that is the truth. I could testify. I didn't make a cent trying to play in the league.
So for a couple of years there, I tried that, and I actually coached basically as a volunteer in '94, and because I was done playing, and went and talked to Don Reed, and he said, gave me a hat and said, sure, come on out. And I coached, and I was about as simple as that. And then again, needed to. I graduated with a degree in marketing or in business with an emphasis in marketing from the university, and I call them my civilian years. I was actually in media for a while. I was account representative for K-Pax.
Okay,
and so I sold advertising for however many years that gets me to 90, would you say 98? Yep. So I did
God
that.
Bless you.
I did that.
I knew we were kindred souls commiserating.
They make us do that around here too. It's a big point of contention.
I was part of the crew. Yeah, I drove around and it was an excellent or a great time in my life. First time I really held a job like that and learned a lot as far as being organized, and you really do have to set your own schedule and do your thing. And it was a great experience for me. And then my wife graduated from the pharmacy school in Montana and was working at Costco, and we were kind of like on the path to just kind of
doing the thing,
do that thing.
Yeah.
And then I got a crazy idea one night to, I really missed that coaching, and I got back in, and Mick Dennehy hired me in '98, I guess, right? And and that was that, and kind of basically started ground zero again. My wife basically flipped the bill for my coaching addiction for a while, and got into, didn't make any money, and did did that thing for a while, and then eventually got a full-time gig and moved on from there.
Awesome.
So yeah, a little interesting. Yeah, it wasn't a direct transition from the helmet to the whistle. I had a little window in there where I did some other stuff.
That's right.
Well, it's really interesting when you think about the timeline, because very few guys get to be at their alma mater for as long as you've been able to be here at Montana, but then also to return multiple times. But then you start to think about, I didn't know you were a grad assistant for Don Reed. I know you'd worked for Mick Dennehy, but you worked for Don Reed, Mick Dennehy, Joe Glenn, Bobby Houck at Montana, and then at UNLV. On the staff with Mick Delaney when he was here in 2009. Before then, he went on to take over. You didn't work for Flugrad, right? So that's
he was a coach when I was a player, and I actually worked with him.
Because he was an assistant
here. We were
both
here, on Bobby's staff in 2009, I guess, right?
Right.
And
so basically, you coached alongside, either as assistants or underneath every Grizz coach from Don Reed all the way through Bob Stitt to back around to Bobby Houck.
Yep.
So you have a better perspective than literally anybody.
Well, I don't know about that. I've been around for sure.
Okay, what's the worst thing each of them ever said? Let's hear it.
I don't know if you could actually find a worse thing that Coach Reed ever said.
Right.
I'd be searching a while.
Yeah. Chad Germer in with us, the offensive line coach at the University of Montana. Going back to getting into coaching, you said, I would like to try that. You'd been the GA, but do it for real. But then, you've been around the game long enough, you know the deal. But when you're actually there doing it, was there a point in time where you said, I don't know if this is really for me, or was it just always like, you know what, this is right. Like this, I love football. I know football, and this suits me. This is what I should be doing.
When I got back into it, with Mick, with Coach Dennehy, I was motivated. I knew that I was moving down the road. I didn't have the time to kind of let things play out and see what kind of coach. I really tried to become a professional coach and get to a position where I could make a living at it and move on. So I was a little motivated to try and be an asset to the team and try and go dig up information, go do things to kind of set myself apart. So I kind of felt like I was kind of had a fire underneath me when I got back into it.
Yeah.
We were talking about offensive linemen in Montana, and we'll get into that element because I think it is fascinating, especially when we talk about the 2001 team. I think every single starter on the team was from Montana. But before we get into that element, I got to ask you, because you spent half your career basically at Montana and the other half in the FBS, 2 different stints, Wyoming and UNLV. What are the biggest differences that you noticed when you did, move up a level, but you're still coaching in sort of regional areas, but what are the biggest differences between like the Big Sky and the Mountain West?
Not huge. Obviously, you got more players to work with. Your scholarship numbers, the big noticeable difference. Venues level competition goes up. I mean, we were the programs I was part of with Joe Glenn and Bobby Houck. I mean, we did the same stuff when we got there and had some success, and had some years that weren't as good, but the successful ones that we had, we were doing things the same way. Right now there's a lot of great coaches in the Big Sky Conference. I think the advancements in being able to scout people based on what video is available, there's really, really good coaches in our conference, and you can get schemed. You can scheme somebody. You can have somebody turn around and scheme you. I mean, it's you get a couple good coaches and a talented crew, you can do some damage.
Well, that said, then when you compare the actual just talent that you had, though, I mean, you probably admit that a lot of the best offensive linemen you've coached over the last 20 years have been guys in Montana from Montana, right?
Without a doubt. I mean, one thing that's unique about this state, although there has not been as many offensive linemen, but back in the day, you could really count on the state itself producing for that position.
I mean, look at the picture here.
Yeah, I know.
I got the 2001 offensive line right here. Dylan McFarland from Kalispell, Thatcher Slade from Whitefish, Brian Pelk from Helena, Derek Decker from Ballantine, John Skinner from Dillon. Every single one of those guys, a small-town Montana guy. And, I mean, you got 3 NFL guys in the picture.
Not Kalispell. Kalispell's huge.
Compared to the other places, come on. Right.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we're always going to try and we'll have possibly 2 this coming season from in-state starting, and we're going to always do everything we can to find those guys. All those guys looking at that picture right there were multi-sport guys that played basketball. Thatcher was a tennis player. The rest of them were all basketball and almost all of them track as well. That's not as common today as I think it was then. We would go find big basketball players and build our numbers up where we could put them down in the dungeon for a little while and grow them up, where there hasn't been that as many as of late. I hope that'll change. We're just gone through a period of them, but we're looking for them. Believe me, we're looking for them.
I'm interested in an aside to that, but related. Football has evolved as much as any sport. I mean, 40 years doesn't even look like the same game as it is today in a lot of ways. Some of it unbelievable, some of it, I don't know. It's just so different. Especially like the last 10 years, the advent of the RPO offensively, the acceleration of the offense. How has that changed offensive line play and what you're looking for in offensive linemen, or has it?
As far as, I know it's Coach Houck's philosophy, it was Coach Glenn's philosophy. We were always going to try and find athletic guys, number one, try and grow them up. So even now, today, I mean, we might have been ahead of the curve at one time in Montana, where we were looking for what is today's offensive lineman before anybody else was. We were looking for tall, rangy guys, and we put the weight on, and we were playing against other offensive lines where they're probably,
thicker,
bigger, right out of the gate, and maybe not as tall. And so we might have been a little bit ahead. And that's why we maybe, led to a lot of success at Montana, is we were going after guys that maybe other people didn't fit their mold.
Well, you found Moses Mallory, and that worked out okay too. He might not be the rangy guy, but my goodness, I love watching Moses Mallory play some football now.
It is interesting though, because I've been thinking about this for a while. There is just less defensive Division I caliber offensive linemen that come out of Montana, and I don't know what I think there's a lot of different factors. What do you think are the factors?
Maybe what the general perception of what they need to be right off the bat is changing. Maybe the thought that you need to get more broader sized guys, right out of the gate. We're still looking for the tall range guy. Now I become maybe a little less. Our centers can be a little thicker, and they're going to, just to leverage issues. I think a taller center can sometimes be detrimental. You need to be able to stay low and stay down. You can be a little bit high-centered maybe if you're too tall at that position. But we're still going to look for tall, rangy tackles. Our tackles are always going to be long, athletic guys. But I do think you need to have some girth up the middle, and you really do. And our guys, I may be jumping ahead here, but guys like Moses and Cordell Pillins and Tyler Ganung, for that matter, guys that really did a great job this winter, and we're having an amazing spring. Now, we got to keep them rolling through this window that we're in right now. But I mean, I'm excited about the guys we have right now, because Cordell and Mo are completely different guys than they were last fall. So. And I kind of jumped way ahead on you there.
No, but I love that.
But they're big guys that can that are in shape now, to be honest with you.
Right.
And can keep rolling.
Oh, and that's always been one of the most fun parts about Montana football to follow, is you do get the guys like, I remember, Stephen Failer's my high school class, and Failer was a skinny basketball player receiver. And then I didn't see him the whole year we lived in the dorms. And then I see him the next fall, and the dude's like 255. And I said, "What have you been doing, man?" He said, "I've been eating and lifting. That's it. That's all I've been doing." But you guys were doing that with maybe not top-notch facilities. Now you have a top-notch facility in the Champions Center. So how much does that help when it comes to a developmental position like yours?
Oh, it's that's where they're going to live. And to go back and wait, and that to my point, the multi-sport guy, I'm going to go back there a step, but. You take a guy like Steve, like Failer that was doing basketball and track, and then you remove that.
Right.
Just removing that for one is going to start. You're going to start. Your body's going to start changing a little bit, and you add and then replace that with weight room and basically cafeteria, and and also your metabolism changes at that age, and guys become different guys. So that's one thing that I do think there may be maybe not as many multi-sport type linemen.
Right.
There's some really good ones out there that are playing only football. There's not as many, and there's some big kids, to be honest with you, that aren't playing football, that are out there on the basketball floor that you try and I know their coaches, they're getting them in the hallway and trying to get them to see it, but.
The answer is, though, play multiple sports, right? I mean, I think a lot of parents think their kids need to specialize to go Division I, but in reality, it's the opposite, right?
Especially in football. I think that way more so in that sport, you're going to find like most of the guys that play on Sunday, we're multi-sport guys. Maybe not as much as in the other two sports, but definitely in football, those guys are well-rounded athletes almost across the board.
I think I saw a statistic actually that I think 78% of offensive linemen in the NFL played at least one other sport in high school.
Yeah, well, you think that, some of the defensive ends might have been able to, go ahead and play basketball too? Probably so.
Yeah.
It's Tootell Nuanez, 102.9 ESPN Radio. Chad Germer in with us, offensive line coach at the University of Montana. We talked a lot about the size, and that's the thing that everybody kind of gravitates towards when it comes to the offensive line for obvious reasons. But when it comes to the playing of the position, and there's a variety of positions, the offensive line, but what to you is the most important thing, if there is a most important thing, about being a good offensive lineman as a player?
I think there's really no substitute for reps. And like as a coach, I'm going to hopefully answer your question the right way here. As a coach, your objective is try and keep it simple, and hopefully we're given a variety of different things for the defense to be concerned about by what we're doing peripherally with we got motion behind us, we're different formations, and then really try and get repetitions of the same concepts over and over in the interior wise.
Yeah.
So you want your guys to be able to fire off the ball and be truly confident in what they're doing. And that's probably the biggest thing is make sure that
thinking kills, right? That hesitation,
they're rolling.
Yeah, right.
And some guys get it right away, and they just see angles, or they see, and some guys, you're wondering if they're ever going to, and then it clicks. And all of a sudden, then you can just almost see their game change. So you do have to have a real good understanding of the basics of the game, and just angles, and being able to see out of the corner of your eye and play ahead of the game and see those things. And like for a lot of guys, that's natural. For a lot of guys, they learn, and some guys it takes a lot of reps to get that. But obviously the given, you got to have some measurables, your size and strength and speed, but just you need to have a base knowledge, a knack for the game. Mm-hmm. And if you have more of a natural feel for the game, you're gonna accelerate way faster. And then that can even be even a guy that maybe a little limited athletically, but they really see and understand the game really well can move ahead. So I think just having a lineman's being able to see the game through lineman eyes is critical.
How about the challenges for you the last 5 years? Because I think that first offensive line when Coach Stitt was here, you had some converted guys that, Mike Ralston was a converted DN, tight end, Cooper Sprunk, converted tight end, turned center. This last year, even, Cy Sermon was another guy you kind of converted. And it seems as if you had units that have been good, gotten better, but haven't been the units like Montana experienced for so many years. What's it been like for you? Because it seems like on one end it might be pretty fun as a coach to try to develop these guys and see them improve so much.
Definitely. You're taking a lot of clay and trying to on it, which it can be fun, but also it's nice to have
Thatcher Slay too. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's a big component of being successful for us, having a stable of veteran players. A bunch of veterans, and even when I first got back here with Coach Stitt, the numbers were pretty good. It was the second, third year where we started to see the decline in numbers of guys, and we were pulling from other positions, and a lot of true success stories there. Had guys like Cy that you mentioned, Cy and Mike Ralston. Wish they would have been there right off the bat because they ended up being good players, and that could have been identified sooner. So they're not says, and we'll continue to do that. That may be an occasional occurrence, but you don't want your O-line to be a majority of guys. You want to have some guys that have grown up in your program, they've learned it, they've seen it, and like I said, you try and keep things simple, but still, I kind of rotate. I go, like our inside zone or our wide zone or our gap schemes. I start back over going inside, and so you're constantly, you don't really ever insert. You're constantly just reteaching, and the more times that you've gone through that cycle of learning, the clearer it gets. And you got a bunch of guys out there who've been doing it for a while, that your chances of success are improved, I believe.
When Bobby took over that first year, really struggled on the offensive line, very young offensive line, and really not the number of scholarships that maybe Bobby's going to dedicate to it now were dedicated at that time. Drastic improvement last season. Where are we at heading into 2020? What are your expectations? Because you had some guys, Cy Sermon, for instance, came in, played really well, and now he's graduated. Now he's out the door. So where are you at on this offensive line, which has a lot of different ages of guys that are there, but some veteran players as well?
We're getting closer. We're definitely. I felt like we made a significant jump from the previous year. Where we did lack a year ago is in consistency. We had some ups and downs. I think a little bit of that's a reflection of having still a few pieces and parts out there. Good players, but maybe not the continuity that you would have if you had a group that's kind of, or a majority of the guys have all kind of been together for a long period of time. I think we're closer. I think we're in better shape, much better shape. We relied on a couple guys, Moses for one, and Cordell got in there a little bit, and an Angel was coming off an injury. We weren't the most fit group. We just got Mo. He showed up literally the day we went on the field in the fall. He was not ready to be a player yet, and I think he's definitely addressed that over the winter, and we're a much more fit group than we were a year ago. I can tell you that.
Right.
How it all plays out, we're in better shape now. Luckily for us, we did get some spring ball in, so we got a pretty good. I got a little bit of a window that I can kind of reflect on where we're at, and enough too that I can tell where we still need some work. So that was good for us to get some spring ball in, and wish we would have got more, because I felt like we're kind of like, all right, the wheels are starting to turn, but we got some.
You mentioned that you have some guys that are returners, but maybe they haven't worked in the spots they're likely going to be at as a unit. How important is that element? Is just learning to play with the other four guys? Yeah,
very important. We're relying on them to do it on their own. They're going out there 2 or 3 nights a week and go. And there's it's non-padded, but they're still working in a relationship with each other, in the same working in spatial relationship and doing those things to try and develop and spending a lot of time together. And I think it's been because we've relied on them to do so much on their own, and without us, I feel like they've become tighter through this. I really do.
Okay, maybe I'm a dope, I know that I am, but I'm going to complain in the form of a question, okay? Why is illegal man downfield a thing? What do we care if Moses Mallory's 50 yards upfield when we're throwing the football, especially with the RPO,
this
right?
is a big point of contention now, though, because it's not that illegal anymore, right?
Well, you could draw a line right down to our staff meeting, and and we'd be welcoming you over to our side.
Good, yeah. Well, I just don't understand. Like, I mean, I understand. Okay, a legal receiver, certain guys you can throw to, certain guys you can't. I understand why that makes sense within the flow of the game. Yeah. But like, where a guy happens to be when the ball is released seems crazy to me. Why we're especially now.
I think if it affects the play, they're throwing the flag, and if it we run it. We have a lot of RPOs on our offense, like almost everybody does.
Yeah, right.
And how many times we see it called? Not that often. Now I think that they're going to continue to try and clean that up, and now if you're using that somehow, you're trying to throw a guy downfield to draw the defensive back's eyes to get the ball somewhere else, then that's going to be something that gets addressed. But if it's not having a bearing on the play and the guys that are being covered are still being covered, even though a guy's gotten downfield a little ways. But to be honest with you, I don't coach it. Man, the last thing you want to do is tell your little lineman that they got to hit the
look out where they are.
Watch out. Don't go too far. Don't go too hard. Or gear down a little bit. So I think honestly, it's been called 2 or 3 times. I know it came back on a touchdown against the Huskies once.
I mean, that's the one that just but you see it. Guy over here, he's 5 feet over the line, 100 yards from the play. Who cares?
It's I don't think it's getting called a lot.
All right. No. Well, and some of the most I think what people think is brilliant offensive play calling and offensive play design involves the split second when you do get away with it, right? I mean, that's where Sean McVay's made so much money is, he's got the backside pulling guard that somehow ends up in front of Todd Gurley after Todd Gurley's already caught the ball, but the timing has to be perfect, and all of a sudden it is I mean, honestly, Sac State has a ton of interesting things in their offense, and if you watch it with a discerning eye, it looks like a pick play a lot of times, but if you time it perfectly, you throw it on a dive, it's never going to get called.
You obviously prep for defenses on the offensive line, but how much of other offenses and offensive lines do you watch, especially around the league, to either see what they're doing and advise a guy like Coach Sachs or something like that? I mean, how much do you guys share, like, hey, man, this is what they're trying to pull off here, this is what you should be aware of? How much of that is happening, that sort of cross-pollination?
Quite a ton, especially the offensive line. We're kind of our own group, and we kind of speak a different language, and nobody else really wants to.
You're at the Red Robin. Everybody get out. We're gonna feed this thing off here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of it. I do a lot of it. I mean, I'm into it, so I watch a lot of film. I like watching NFL films because it's clean and it's very good teaching film because not a lot of pieces and parts that are going the wrong way. It's super. You can watch reps. So I watch that. And I watch with my guys. I'll watch a cut up of us doing something and maybe somebody else that we've studied doing it, and then maybe an NFL. So I'll back up 3 clips, and I really feel that that's helpful. Now the whole this whole situation, for lack of a better term, has changed my knowledge of I didn't know what Zoom was 2 months ago, and now I'm, I started with a little bit with our players, and now I've Zoomed other coaches, and it's very convenient. I can, look at our outside zone for me. Tell me what you're seeing. I got buddies all over the place, and I can throw on my film, and simple as a phone call and dial it up, and then they'll throw their clip on. And I mean, that's something that's been available to me for a long time, but obviously for a while that I didn't know was there. So I've actually done more of it. I think we've been pretty productive. We did, like I said, I'm going to jump ahead here a little bit, but Coach Houck did a great job in navigating us through these last couple months. I mean, we were in the office every day. We stayed way ahead in recruiting, both high school and transfer, and our guys are back in the weight room now. I think we've done everything we could through this time, and we did a ton of self-eval. We probably did the film aspect of our off season was, we did a ton of self-eval. We did a ton of studying other teams. So I felt like we've had a very productive last 3 months.
Yeah.
We talk about this with coaches around the Big Sky, head coaches a lot, and the league has such an offensive reputation, and I think that the diversity of offensive schemes in the league is what makes it so fascinating. I know Cal Poly's not going to run the triple option anymore, at least not likely under Bo Baldwin, but you could have a week where you go, You're trying to defend the triple option, you're trying to defend the spread from Eastern, you're trying to defend, pistol stuff from Portland State. But on the other side of the ball, in your mind, who are the hardest teams in the Big Sky to put offensive game plans against? Who runs is there anybody that's akin to how unusual the triple option is defensively? Is anybody like that?
Well, Portland State.
I guess Portland State's running the flex.
Portland State runs a little flex, but they'll line up in some different configurations, but they usually have the same number of guys committed to the run game and the same number of guys committed to coverage. They play a lot of single high defense, even though they'll mix it up a bunch and throw you a lot of looks. Sac State's probably the closest thing to us, where they'll be they'll look like their guys are dropping and they're blitzing.
The weirdest defense in the Big Sky is the Grizzlies defense, right?
No, without a doubt. They're even me seeing them every spring and every fall, I'm still spending a lot of time like, okay, what's this thing? Believe me, they are the equivalency of the triple option, I think, or we are, which is I'm glad they're on our side.
Chad Gerber in with us, offensive line coach at the University of Montana. Last thing for me, you grew up in Three Forks.
Yep.
How far did you make it down to Missouri? I just want to start at Three Forks and just take it all the way down, man. I want to ride it right out to the Gulf. What is that? Is that a thing? Can I do something like that?
Well, you'll hit a couple dams, and you'll hit one right away.
That's why they're called dams, right? Because you're like, well.
Yeah, you're right. I think there's one even before you get to There's might be two before you get through Helena.
Yeah.
So
you gotta get out, walk it around, and go to the other side.
Most of my time was pre-Missouri. I spent a lot of time on the Madison and Jefferson, and we go out. What a great place! And we were just back there this last weekend, and you really get it when you leave. And I didn't. Back when I was a kid, it's like this place. Get out of here.
Right.
Go do something else. But you go back and you're like, wow, it was an amazing place and beautiful.
Unbelievable.
Beautiful place. Oh, yeah.
As good as it gets.
I mean, the Madison Rivers, every inch of that is awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Chad, we appreciate you coming in, man. This has been fun. We look forward to doing this again.
I was thinking, are we so low on sports right now that we got
no
offensive line coaches live on the radio?
The offensive line coaches welcome in anytime.
You know what? And not that we're not trying to rank anybody here, but you are assistant coach number 2 from the Grizzlies. The whole, what is it? You got 8, 10, 12 coaches on the staff.
And the only reason Justin Green's number 1 is because he invited himself on the show.
Yeah, I know that.
Shout out to Justin, because I'm sure he's listening. And Justin, you can invite yourself on the show anytime.
Chad, you got dogs?
Unfortunately, we just lost a dog.
I'm sorry.
No, that's a bummer.
Man, that's a terrible segue into my live read that I was going to.
Sorry, but I'll live it. We're as an adult, I've had. Two boxer. We're a boxer family.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah.
All boxers, and they've been family.
Well, dogs are family, and dogs also don't have opposable thumbs, and so they cannot pick up after themselves. That becomes the human's job, and it's a job nobody wants to do. So I got great news for you. If you don't want to do it, your dog can't do it, you go to Montana Pooper Scoopers. That's right, MontanaPooperScoopers.com. You go online, whether you got a dozen boxers, whether you got one Chihuahua, it does not matter. They will come over to your house. They will take care of the job nobody in the family wants to do. Stop all the arguing about who it's going to be. Let them do it, okay? $25 off your initial service just for mentioning this ad. Is that simple. Online, MontanaPooperScoopers.com. Anyone can afford it. Businesses, families, Missoula and Lolo, that's where they service. MontanaPooperScoopers.com. Let them do the job no one else wants to do.
Yes, Polaris is open. The great outdoors are wide open, so why not make the most of it during the Polaris Summer Sales event? Take the family on a cross-country adventure with Polaris General, the world's most comfortable, most powerful sports utility machines. Kick up some dust in a Razor, the off-road's most thrilling performance side-by-sides. Grab the bars of a legendary Sportsman ATV and discover the freedom of unstoppable performance. Or get more done between your fence lines with Ranger, America's favorite off-road workhorse. There's never been a better time to say yes to outdoor adventure. Enjoy rebates up to $1,000 on the off-road's best during the Polaris Summer Sales event at Kurtz Polaris. Kurtz Polaris is at 2904 West Broadway in Missoula and Highway 83 in Sealy. Kurtz has all the best in off-roading with dirt bikes and side-by-sides, and now Kurtz has Crest pontoon boats in stock for the season. Summer is here at Kurtz Polaris, online at kurtzpolaris.com. Offers valid in U.S. through 6/30/20 on new 2016 through 2020 vehicles. Offers vary by model. See dealer for details. Always wear a helmet, never drink and ride.
Hi there. It's Les Schwab Alignment and Brakes and Shocks and Wheels and Tires. Some tire places don't offer all that, but we do to help keep you safe. And during our Ready for Summer tire sale, save up to $110 on a set of 4 select tires. We're open, so stop on by or book an appointment at leschwab.com. Les Schwab Tires. Doing the right thing matters. Limited time offer while supplies last. Actual discount amount depends on tire size and type. Cannot be combined with other offers. Details at leschwab.com.
Whether you're shopping for your first home, need something bigger, or downsizing for retirement, you need a mortgage. Talk to the experts at Farmers State Bank or start the application process online at farmersebank.com. Our mortgage lenders have many options to help you into the home of your dreams, from conventional to in-house, VA, rural development, and more. Farmers State Bank, your Montana bank since 1907, an equal housing lender and member FDIC.
Summer is here, so get out of the house and play some golf at the picturesque Canyon River Golf Club. Canyon River boasts a pristine 18-hole championship golf course sitting along the Clark Fork River in the beautiful mountain valley of East Missoula. The course is meticulously manicured and in perfect shape to give you the challenge and fun you're looking for. Visit CanyonRiverGolfClub.com to book your tee time online and save big all season. You've been cooped up, so get out and play at Canyon River Golf Club.
There's a reason the Desperado has been voted best wings and sports bar in Missoula. Start with the wings. Despo wings are never frozen, which is why they're always big, juicy, and tender. And the burgers and steaks at the Despo? They purchase them each day from a butcher shop right here in town. And when it comes to drinks, the Despo has the coldest beer on tap and is always served in a frosty mug. All this, plus the NFL ticket every Sunday, Grizz games, and the friendliest staff in town. The Desperado Sports Tavern, across from the Y on Russell.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
Good afternoon, Ryan Tootell, Colton Nuanez. Here's some sports news for you. In the most recent issue of Sports Illustrated, an article titled Game Change predicted 10 major alterations to the world of sports as we know it. The number one listed change centered upon the viability of non-revenue sports at the collegiate level. On Wednesday, that prediction became a reality in the Big Sky. Southern Utah and Northern Colorado, two of the lower budget athletic programs in the conference, announced the cutting of their men's and women's tennis program.
The loss of the Northern Colorado and Southern Utah programs does not affect scheduling for either of the Montana schools because the Big Sky has split into North and Southern divisions coming into the school year, but it cause for concern for all Big Sky tennis programs, and it will affect the annual Big Sky tennis tournament.
The reduction of intercollegiate sports programs is one of the many cost-saving measures the UNC Athletics Department is implementing as part of an ongoing university-wide analysis. Other moves include department and sports budget reductions, regional scheduling, and travel efficiencies for all sports and furloughs. Southern Utah, Eastern Washington, and many other schools in the Big Sky are navigating similar changes.
The Chinook Sugar Beaters were the lone Montana team standing after the round of 16 voting for the online National High School Football Tournament. That's Helmets. Closed on Wednesday. Glasgow Scotties, they fell just barely to the St. Paul, California Swordsmen, but Sugar Beaters still alive.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center is brought to you by Aspen Sound.
Yes, if people don't know, this is a very confusing thing. They're having a best high school helmet competition tournament bracket style vote, right, for the best high school helmet in the country. And the Chinook Sugar Beaters are in the Sweet 16. It's pretty good.
It is. It's super sweet. I mean, Chinook Sugar Beaters has to be one of the great high school mascots, period, right? Just anywhere?
I mean, it's glorious. Yes,
it's glorious. Shout out. Glorious. You know who our the best friend of the show we got? That was a former Chinook Sugar Beater.
Who's that?
Dan Davies.
Oh, Dan.
Associate Athletic Director for Montana State.
Absolutely.
The ultimate Bobcat. The guy's been a Bobcat for, since 1972?
Well, he might be the ultimate sugar beater, too.
That's true.
Tootell Nuanez, 102.9 ESPN Radio. SWX Montana Television. Howdy. Great to be with you across the state. Thanks for being here with us at Gus Tootell, at 102.9 ESPN, and at Skyline Sports MT
on your Twitter machine if you want to find us on the social meds. It is time, boys and girls, for a little bit of Blindside. Coulter and I like to play a little bit of, have a little open conversation about topics that the one comes up with for the other. This first one here in this first hour is going to be me, Coulter, and I wanted to, how shall I say, play to the crowd, okay? I wanted to do this for you. Okay? So here's my question, and I will... Rather than contextualizing it before the question, I'll ask it and then contextualize it, and then you can tell me. The question is simply this. Is this the time for boxing to make a comeback? And the reason I'm asking is because I have watched top-ranked boxing on ESPN now 3 nights over the last couple of weeks. It's been on several times a week on ESPN, right there in prime time. It is one of the few sports, or maybe I should say like this, I believe it to be the most compelling sport within the context of not knowing the characters. You can watch boxing regardless of who it is that's up there, and it still is intriguing, interesting. You learn the stories as you go, and you can see the stories in a lot of ways based on the way the fighters fight. And I watched Joshua Franco beat and upset Andrew Maloney for the formerly undefeated Andrew Maloney for the WBA junior bantamweight title. I think it was 2 nights ago. And I had never heard of either of these guys. Now, the Mahoneys are these twin brothers who are great fighters out of the UK. Yep. So I learned about them. That's great. But Joshua Franco won a fan in Gus Tootell on Tuesday night or whatever it was. I mean, I was riveted watching this kid just go to work and beat the guy he wasn't supposed to beat and thoroughly dominate the second half of the fight. It was spectacular. But also, it was just fun. Like, even without the pomp and circumstance, everything about boxing, we've talked, not everything about, but much about boxing is the event that it is, everybody walking in, the crowd, the anticipation that this thing's going to happen, the bell rings. But even without all that, it is a tremendous sport. I enjoy it very much, and it is, along with golf, the only thing going for another month. So is this the moment where we could go, hey, boxing, back into the middle of the sports world?
First of all, you don't like UFC though, right?
Not really. No.
Why?
We've had this conversation.
I know. I don't understand though. How do you love boxing and not like UFC? It's so much the same.
It is. It's not close to the same. I mean, it's.
What is it about UFC that turns you off?
It's gratuitous and it's too. It is. It is there for the bludgeoning in a lot of ways to me. I realize
it's not the sweet science.
It isn't. I mean, the boxing, obviously there are knockouts, okay? And it could be a one-punch deal breaker, and that's that, and it's severe.
Yep.
But also, it is more about the sport of hitting and not being hit and the different ways to go about it, as opposed to just
fighting.
Yes. Yes, and I realize that I lose the nuance of all the different, from jiu-jitsu to Muay Thai to karate to boxing to kickboxing and all the wrestling, all the different things that are coming together in MMA. Like, I'm aware that all that is there, that all these folks that are doing this, men and women, professionals, they're great at it. And there's a lot that I have been sucked in more than one time to UFC fights and watching that, and that's, I'm not sitting here saying it shouldn't be a thing or it's just egregious.
I get
but
it.
it's not my deal.
It's personal preference. I'm not here to argue
Love
with
boxing, not a big MMA guy.
Okay, that's fine. To answer your question, it could be a time when boxing could rise, but it won't be. And follow me here, because you need to watch Be Water, the new Bruce Lee.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, but they started analyzing the way that combat sports impacted different minority groups in America post.
In Be Water, they did this in this documentary.
So you're talking about let's say the first 60 years of the 20th century, when America's transitioning away from slavery by and large, but there's still a ton of just racial tension across the board. And it's not just African American people that are being exploited, it's also Chinese Americans, and Bruce Lee was such a hero to them.
Yes.
And that's part of what this documentary addresses, is the way that he used his charisma and his skill, his acting ability to change a lot of the stereotypes about Asian Americans. But one of the points that they make in the documentary that I'd never really thought of was that boxing was the first sport where African Americans really had a chance to not only stand out, but to absolutely dominate.
Right.
And it became in vogue. It became such a staple of inner city communities, the boxing gym. And so it's not just black guys that are going there, but you have so many African American young men did gravitate towards the boxing gym. It was the sport of the inner city. So therefore, then all of the best athletes are gravitating towards boxing. That's how you have the best athletes as boxers. Sugar Ray Robinson, Muhammad Ali. The best athletes on the planet were the heavyweight champion of the world used to be the dude. Now I don't think, Deontay Wilder is a great athlete, but I don't think anybody would say Deontay Wilder or
Tyson Fury
or Anthony Joshua. All great athletes. I don't think anybody would say those guys are better athletes than Khalil Mack or Von Miller or, it's apples to oranges, certainly. All I'm saying, though, is that it's not as trendy of a thing. And so it used to be that so many people boxed as youths. Mm-hmm. Now you have to choose to box as a youth, and it's such an outpost of a sport. This is the first time in our history as a country, this last probably 15 years, where way more kids are wrestling when they're young than they are boxing. So now you turn 18 and you say, okay, I want to continue doing sports. What do I have the baseline in? Okay, I played a little football. I wrestled. Okay, I can go train some Muay Thai, and I can become an MMA fighter. If you're just starting to box when you're 18, you're never going to make it as a professional boxer. So because of that, I just think that we're not going to have the same influx of talent and star power for boxing to ever gain traction again. I think that people will just, ironically, MMA is a more brutal sport than boxing, but it's not a more difficult sport. That's probably why you like it. That's why you like boxing better, because of the skill element of it, right?
It is. You can.
And so, in other words, you have to have a baseline of that from when you're young, though. And so I just worry about the future of boxing because our best athletes aren't choosing it anymore. So many of them are gravitating towards basketball and football, but also it's just not a part of youth culture nearly as much as it used to be.
So I don't disagree, actually, with anything that you said, but I would just say this as a consumer of sports, as a guy who likes sports, I am continually aware of the imbalance between the amount that I watch boxing and the amount that I follow boxing.
Sure.
I love boxing. I really enjoy sitting down and watching boxing. And
but
I
you
almost
couldn't tell me who any of the champs
tell you.
are.
Some of the heavyweights, right?
You know the main heavyweights, right?
Right. I didn't know the Maloney brothers existed on the earth, and I find out that they're twin bantamweight champions, now former champion. Okay, fine. But all I'm saying is this. You can talk to me all day about the athletes and what it would be like if Khalil Mack and Von Miller were the heavyweights of the world and what that would be like, and I agree with you. And yet I'm watching 215-pound guys just look like a blur on the screen in the quickness and the speed and all the things that they're doing, and found myself thoroughly entertained. And I didn't need it to be, the biggest and the best and the whatever. It was the sport, and certainly the high. This was a belt championship main event. These are two excellent fighters, okay? Franco, in his own right, it was a one-loss fighter coming into it, like 17-1-1 or something. So these are. It is a different sport when you talk about amateur or just, middle of the road guys. It's a completely different deal. But to watch the best do what they do, it's spectacular, and I think that more and more people could, first of all, have an opportunity to learn about it. It's got the exposure now, the platform on ESPN regularly to be there. And, is all of a sudden people, when baseball starts, when the NBA starts, when the NHL jump back into that stuff and don't have this ear over here? Maybe, but I think some inroads could be made.
So much of the popularity of sports, though, is the people that are watching it because they either used to or still do participate in that sport. Right? Like, how amazing NBA guys are because even if you just play pickup basketball at the YMCA or whatever. Like the golf. We love watching golf because, wow, this guy's so amazing. I think boxing also used to be so popular because everybody at one point had boxed. Everybody's old man took him to the boxing gym. It just used to be so much more of an ingrained part of our culture in terms of kids doing it. Mm-hmm. Like every gym on the corner, every Boys and Girls Club had a boxing bag. Right. That's not the case anymore. You couldn't find a pair of boxing gloves at any gym in the entire city of Missoula right now.
Right. All right. Very good. It's Tootell Nuanez, 102.9 ESPN Radio. That is our first blind side. Coulter will bring us another blind side, and we'll do so in the next hour. But immediately, right after this, I want to talk a little bit more in detail about what's going on at Eastern Washington. Lynn Hickey, the athletic director, putting out the call for donations in pretty tough financial straits right now is the Eastern Washington Athletic Department, and they are not alone. So we will get into all of that right after this. Hey, Kurtz Polaris is at 2904 West Broadway in Missoula, Highway 83 in Sealy. And the weather, spectacular, sunny, warm. It's summer, officially and actually. So get to Kurtz Polaris. Side-by-sides to the max. You get yourself a General, a Ranger, a Razor. The hardest working and most fun side-by-sides on the market are at Kurtz Polaris. Also, though, top-of-the-line dirt bikes. You into getting off-road on two wheels, Beta and Husqvarna dirt bikes going to take care of you that way. And also, you can get on the lake. How about Crest Pontoon Boats? Crest Pontoon Boats, yes, you know it. Top of the line. That's all they do at Kurtz Polaris. Top of the line, everything. Pontoon boats available at Kurtz for the season. Go online, kurtzpolaris.com. Summer the way it should be. Summer the way you always envision. Kurtz Polaris.
Blaine McElmurray knows what you can achieve through hard work as an athlete from a small town in Montana. The Troy native rose up to become an All-American safety for the Grizzlies on UM's 95 National Championship team before spending time playing in the NFL. McElmurray has also used those values in his work at McElmurray Homes. Since 2003, McElmurray Homes has helped contract and subcontract some of the Garden City's finest houses. McElmurray Homes is committed to offering quality custom service, quality products, and the best prices throughout any project. And McElmurray Homes is also a proud supporter of high school athletes around the state of Montana.
When you're ready for a light and refreshing boost of energy, you are ready for Lotus. Florence Coffee is now serving this plant-based energy drink. Lotus is created with organic, non-GMO ingredients, including green coffee beans, botanicals, B vitamins, and amino acids, all mixed with natural fruit extracts and juices. Our baristas will be happy to introduce you to Lotus Energy Drink at any Florence Coffee locations, or go to florencecoffeeco.com.
Florence Coffee Company.
Hello, Montanans. Times have been uncertain, but we here at the Montana Club have relished seeing how our communities have pulled together. We've been grateful to serve you delivery and takeout, which we will continue to do, and we are excited to announce that our dining room is open again. Thank you for supporting us during this time. We can't wait to see you and serve you all of your Montana Club favorites. As always, we are here for you. We are Montana. Welcome back to the club, the Montana Club, on Brooks and North Reserve, Missoula.
After a long couple of months, it's finally feeling like we're getting back to business as usual. But it's not the usual at all. At Missoula's Wingate, we are, as always, committed to giving you a relaxing stay at a great value. But we're also balancing the new guidelines like maximum pool occupancies and increased disinfecting to protect your health with a never-ending pledge to make you feel at home when you're not. If you find yourself on the road in the Missoula area, please consider staying with us at Missoula's Wingate.
Hello, Montanans. Times have been uncertain, but we here at the Montana Club have relished seeing how our communities have pulled together. We've been grateful to serve you delivery and takeout, which we will continue to do, and we are excited to announce that our dining room is open again. Thank you for supporting us during this time. We can't wait to see you and serve you all of your Montana Club favorites. As always, we are here for you. We are Montana. Welcome back to the club, the Montana Club, on Brooks and North Reserve, Missoula.
My husband and I had a fight, and it became violent. He slammed my face into the kitchen cabinets. I called 911, and my husband threatened to get his gun. I was terrified because I made the call and got the help that I needed. My daughter and I are safe today.
Seek justice, ensure victims' rights, inspire hope. Contact the Montana Office of Consumer Protection and Victim Services. Brought to you in cooperation with the Montana Broadcasters Association.
Tootell and Nuanez on 102.9 ESPN Radio for Missoula.
No tennis in northern Colorado and southern Utah and eastern Washington up against it, and we're starting to see some of the financial fallout from all that's gone on in the Big Sky Conference athletic department. It's Tootell and Nuanez, 1029 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television. Howdy. Thanks for letting us be with you. We're happy to be there. Coulters, we wrap up the first hour here. You want to talk about, first of all, Lynn Hickey, the AD at Eastern Washington, tweeting out a series of tweets several days ago, coming out of some meetings, some institutional-wide meetings, and basically, I mean, sounding the alarm that Eastern Washington athletics is in a very tough financial position right now.
This is from last night, or 2 nights ago, excuse me. Lynn Hickey tweeted, Eags, just listened to 2 hours of calls blaming athletics for EWU's financial problems when we only represent 2% of the total university budget, but we are going to have to take close to a 30% cut, triple question mark. Then I see all the academic success we had this quarter. By the way, Eastern Washington, credit to their student athletes. I think they had a 3.7 GPA for the spring quarter as a athletic department.
Wow.
Which is, you could scoff and say it's Eastern, you could scoff and say it's quarter system, but either way, it's still, I mean, the numbers are the numbers. That's damn good for a full athletic department. She said, please speak up about our value at Eastern Washington. Then she said, we have an urgent call to action. We are losing positions, cutting operations. Every remaining staff person is taking a salary reduction. Eags, we need you to give to the EAF. I think that's the Eagle Alumni Foundation. Help us with scholarships. Help us take care of our kids. Our staff is Eagle Strong. Please join us. And then she did another call to action, basically saying to former Eastern Washington athletes, please talk about on Twitter how your experience improved your life. And I mean, so they got responses from guys like Michael Roos, who was an all-pro for the Tennessee Titans offensive lineman, and Cooper Kupp, who was a rising star for the Los Angeles Rams, and then a variety of other guys that aren't in the NFL. I think that's the most important people to hear from is, hey, like Sam McPherson, for example, he's the running back on the team that went to the national championship a couple years ago. He said, hey, I graduated from Eastern Washington, and I had my foot in the door for every job that I applied for because, people knew my name because I scored a touchdown in the national championship game. And you could say it's favoritism for athletes or whatever, but it is a real thing. Having name recognition, it gets you a lot of places in life, period, especially if you're a former student athlete. And so I think that this Eastern Washington thing, and that's why I keep going back to talk about it, because I think I seriously think it's so fascinating when it comes to small school college sports that don't have impassioned fan bases. Eastern has good fans. They don't have the fan bases of schools like Montana, Montana State, North Dakota State, or South Dakota State. They don't have that rural feel. They're not the biggest show in town. So the balancing act of how much do you spend on being successful compared to how successful have you been for not much financial benefit, it's so interesting to me because, to me, I think the Cats and the Grizz have reached the point where I don't even think it matters what they do from this point forward, as long as it's not a horrific string of losing. I mean, Montana State's had multiple losing seasons in the last couple of years. They still sell out Bobcat Stadium. Montana had a dip under the end of Coach Delaney and the duration of Bob Stitz is nowhere in comparison to what the previous 20 years have been. They haven't completely sold out the stadium, but they're still second in the country in attendance in the FCS. And so I think that they have the entrenched tradition so much, but it's just so interesting for me to analyze because I think that Eastern, unfortunately, is a stark example of how good you can be and how it doesn't matter when it comes to the money.
Well, it doesn't. But here's the other thing, too, is Montana State are great standards to look at. They're also huge outliers at the level that they're at.
But that's why I think it is more interesting to analyze Eastern Washington because they're not an outlier.
And that's what I'm saying is that why isn't there a problem like Southern Utah, for instance, they just cut their tennis and men's and women's programs. Okay, that's certainly a negative thing. It's a cost cutting situation, and that's what they chose to do. And a lot of places, and Eastern as part of this, are in financial straits right now for all of the reasons that are not in their control. They didn't necessarily mismanage a whole bunch of stuff. No, they didn't, whatever. But here's the thing, and this is what I keep coming back to, and that frankly just bothers me. Athletics at a university, we are told from the very top, Mark Emmert on down, are an extracurricular activity that are there to round out the student experience, right? The academic is what you're here to do, to learn and to grow, and part of the growth as a holistic person is participating in these extracurricular activities, be they athletic, be they other. And that's fine. I buy that all day long. That does happen. That is true. It also is the case then, though, that if you have a financial crisis that comes in and you have a problem, the athletics should be treated no differently within the scope of that from all the other things. And I'm not saying anywhere that they are. I don't think so. I would imagine that there's cuts at Southern Utah that are happening institution-wide, that it's not just men's and women's tennis that got the axe. But I also think that there are places where, the sports aren't carrying their weight. Well, you know what? The sports aren't supposed to make money. That's not what they're there to do. They are expensive, and if you're going to have them because this is so important to the to the student experience, then so be it. And I buy some of that. But the fact that Ohio State football makes enough money to pay for the whole school to exist is, first of all, crazy, and second of all, new, and third of all, still not even accepted as an explanation by the powers that be in administrative roles, particularly in the NCAA. So I don't want to hear about, the money isn't there. Then if the money's not there for them, the money's not there for anyone. And maybe it's not, but don't talk to me about that.
Yeah, Eastern Washington is just they are in a unique situation, man.
They are.
Because it's unique because it's better from a money perspective to be way worse at sports than Eastern Washington is. Name the 8 most powerful programs in the FCS.
Football?
Yep.
Well, Montana State, NDSU, James Madison, South Dakota State.
Jacksonville State.
Yeah.
Eastern Washington.
Northern Iowa, maybe.
Northern Iowa. And Eastern Washington, right?
Probably, yeah.
What does every single one of those schools have in common besides Eastern Washington?
I don't know.
They draw 16 to 25,000 fans per game. They make money.
But they don't, though. That's the point. They don't make money. They do have higher revenue, and that is worth noting, okay? But by the way, just because they're good, okay, how about all the crappy teams in the FCS that draw way less than Eastern Washington? They still got teams. The expense is roughly similar.
No.
Yes.
No, because they're not marketing themselves on the same level. They don't have the same recruiting. They don't have to have the expectation of being in the top 10 every year. So they don't have to spend any money on recruiting. They don't have to have individual camps. They don't have to have any of that kind of stuff.
I mean,
there are teams in the Big Sky and in the FCS that are intentionally bad. They don't want to be good because they don't want to spend the money on it.
Coulter, there is money that it costs to be good, and I'm not saying that everybody's spending the same amount of money to do the things that they're doing. Obviously, things like the Champion Center, okay, or the addition to Bobcat Stadium, or huge dollar figures or whatever. But if you're talking to me about the annual cost of just running the program, no, I don't. The cost of having a football team and playing a football season.
You're missing my point, though.
Are equitable.
You're missing my point, though. It's very clear based on the subsidization that Eastern Washington receives from its institution, and this is why they're in the situation that they're in right now, that people do not give money to Eastern Washington to fund athletic scholarships. So it doesn't matter how many fans you put in the stands. It matters how many fans that live in the world that will give you money to fund athletics.
Totally.
And every other school you just named has tens of thousands of people that are willing to give them money. Eastern doesn't. That's what's crazy, because you're at the point where you're the last Big Sky team to win a national championship. How can you get better than that? You can't. You can't get better than Cooper Kupp and Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah.
You can't.
No, right.
So if no one's going to give you money then, if the guys that are in the NFL making millions of dollars aren't even going to give you money, what's the point of having an athletic department? I don't know. It's an uphill battle. I feel bad for them, but also it's a distinct example of non-sustainability.
Okay. There's a lot more there. We will continue to unpack it as we go, but we got to get out because Asher Croy, subject of our senior spotlight, graduate of Bozeman High School, going to play football at the University of Montana. Had a pretty good day in his last game as a Bozeman Hawk. We'll talk about all of it next.
ESPN Radio for Western Montana, KKVU HD3 Stevensville, and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula.
There's a reason the Desperado has been voted best wings and sports bar in Missoula. Start with the wings. Despo wings are never frozen, which is why they're always big, juicy, and tender. And the burgers and steaks at the Despo? They purchase them each day from a butcher shop right here in town. And when it comes to drinks, the Despo has the coldest beer on tap and is always served in a frosty mug. All this plus the NFL ticket every Sunday, Grizz games, and the friendliest staff in town. The Desperado Sports Tavern, across from the Y on Russell.
This is Mike Nugent with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. Berkshire Hathaway provides Western Montana with full-time real estate professionals for you whenever you need us. Our reputation as the state's most knowledgeable and available real estate group has helped build unmatched trust in the Garden City and statewide. If you have been thinking of making a real estate move in the short or long term, give me a call. No pressure, no expectations. Just professional opinions and service at whatever pace you are comfortable with. Give me, Mike Nugent, a call today. 531-1802. And remember, every question is good to ask.
Garden City Paint and Glass is ready to help you with your summer home improvement projects. Their trained staff can help you with your painting and staining projects, setting you up with the right colors and the right brushes, rollers, and painting preparation, and they can even color match and custom tint. Garden City Paint and Glass sells only the highest quality paints and stains, so your project comes out right. Visit Garden City Paint and Glass for more information or give them a call at 549-0608. Garden City Paint and Glass, locally owned and serving Missoula for over 30 years.
Summer is here, so get out of the house and play some golf at the picturesque Canyon River Golf Club. Canyon River boasts a pristine 18-hole championship golf course sitting along the Clark Fork River in the beautiful mountain valley of East Missoula. The course is meticulously manicured and in perfect shape to give you the challenge and fun you're looking for. Visit CanyonRiverGolfClub.com to book your tee time online and save big all season. You've been cooped up, so get out and play at Canyon River Golf Club. Yes, Polaris is open. The great outdoors are wide open, so why not make the most of it during the Polaris Summer Sales event? Take the family on a cross-country adventure with Polaris General, the world's most comfortable, most powerful sports utility machines. Kick up some dust in a Razor, the off-road's most thrilling performance side-by-sides. Grab the bars of a legendary Sportsman ATV and discover the freedom of unstoppable performance. Or get more done between your fence lines with Ranger, America's favorite off-road workhorse. There's never been a better time to say yes to outdoor adventure. Enjoy rebates up to $1,000 on the off-road's best during the Polaris Summer Sales event at Kurtz Polaris. Kurtz Polaris is at 2904 West Broadway in Missoula and Highway 83 in Sealy. Kurtz has all the best in off-roading with dirt bikes and side-by-sides, and now Kurtz has Crest pontoon boats in stock for the season. Summer is here at Kurtz Polaris, online at kurtzpolaris.com. Offers valid in U.S. through 6/30/20 on new 2016 through 2020 vehicles. Offers vary by model. See dealer for details. Always wear a helmet. Never drink and ride.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
Good afternoon, Ryan Tootell, Colton Nuanez. Here's some sports news for you. In the most recent issue of Sports Illustrated, an article entitled Game Change predicted 10 major alterations to the world of sports as we now know it. The number one listed change centered upon the viability of non-revenue sports at the collegiate level. On Wednesday, that prediction became a reality in the Big Sky Conference. Southern Utah and Northern Colorado, two of the lower budget athletic departments in the Big Sky, announced the cutting of their men's and women's tennis programs.
The loss of the Northern Colorado and Southern Utah programs does not affect scheduling for the Montana State teams because the Big Sky has split into North and South divisions for the coming school year, but it causes for concern for all Big Sky tennis programs, and it will affect the annual Big Sky Tennis Tournament.
The reduction of intercollegiate sports programs is one of the many cost-saving measures the UNC Athletics Department is implementing as part of an ongoing university-wide analysis. Other moves include department and sports budget reductions, regional scheduling and traveling efficiencies, as well as some furloughs. Southern Utah, Eastern Washington, and many other schools in the Big Sky are navigating similar challenges.
The Chinook Sugar Beaters were the lone Montana team standing when the round of 16 voting for the online National High School Football Helmet Tournament closed Wednesday morning. Glasgow Scotties, who was Montana State's helmet champion, fell in a spirited vote to the St. Paul, California Swordsmen. The teams were tied at 50% with less than 30 minutes left in the voting.
Polaris Studio, here is Ryan Tootell and Colter Nuanez.
Howdy. How are you? Hope you're well. It's Tootell and Nuanez, 102.9 ESPN Radio. Hour number 2 set to go. Rock and roll here on a Thursday afternoon. We appreciate you being along with us. If you missed anything in the first hour, including our conversation with Chad Germer, the offensive line coach at the University of Montana, go ahead and check it out on the podcast. Tootell and Nuanez podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts. It's available all the time, and it is there thanks to our friends at Opportunity Bank, your local bank. No. Let's back this up. The stream is at 1029ESPN.com also. That's where you listen live. See, we want to keep things in real time, and then we got to keep things in post time for people who are like me and a little late to everything. If you're in real time, you're an early rise, you want to be on the edge of it, you catch it on the stream. The stream is available thanks to Opportunity Bank, your local bank, your opportunity. If you want to listen on the podcast, rate, review, subscribe, all of your favorite podcasting platforms. You can check out the podcast anytime you would like it. That's one reason I love it, because it's just always there. Boys and girls, it's there thanks to Alpine Touch and Blackfoot. We go now to the Rankish Brothers RV phone line, and we welcome in the subject of our senior spotlight. He's a just now graduated senior from Bozeman High School by way of Huntley Project, and will next year be enrolling at the University of Montana and be a member of the Grizzly football team. Asher Croy joining us. Asher, thanks so much for being with us. How are you?
Pretty good.
Well, I'm glad to hear you're doing well, and we're excited to have you on here. Here's the good news. You had a full football season, and you had a very successful football season. The bad news, you didn't get to do the track part of this thing, so we're going to cover all of this. But let's talk about football, man. Your father, a former Grizz, he was the head coach at Huntley Project. You go to Bozeman there for your senior year. You play at the AA level, and it's Bozeman versus Butte in the Ranchi Stadium for the state championship. Colter and I were on the sidelines of that game, and well, you went off, my man. 333 yards and a state championship to boot. What do you remember about that night?
Not much, to be honest. I just remember being so nervous before the game, and I just kind of went by so fast. Like, I normally remember everything extremely well, but just trying to remember specific plays, I think that night is always for me. But no, it's definitely one of my better memories for sure.
When you were you actually met Ryan and I for a minute. I know he was kind of in the middle of.
He already said he didn't remember anything. Why are you going to do this?
It was in the middle of the celebration, but it was fun grabbing you and your dad for a quick little interview. But making the change and taking the risk to move from the Huntley Project, which has been a great program, to Bozeman and not play for your dad as the head coach anymore. I know your dad came over to Bozeman too and helped out on the staff and everything with Coach Wesche, but then to have it stamped with a state championship, what did that mean to you?
Oh, that meant everything, especially to both me and Dad. I mean, we've been through a lot over at Huntley, several years of tough issues. Got beat over in the successful season to finally finish off my career. And I know he wasn't the head coach, but that was his first title he had ever as a coach or even player too. But that meant so much to us because we put in so many hours, weight room, off season. Like that was definitely something we'll take pride in forever. But yeah.
Asher Croy joining us, subject of our senior spotlight. I know we're having a little bit of phone trouble, so we're trying and get that signal strengthened up here a little bit. And Asher, you were a great track athlete as well, 4x100-meter sprinter at Huntley Project there, and you did get a chance to do that this year, obviously, because nobody did. But what was it going to be like, do you think, for you in your senior year and being at a new place to sprint? When you found out, man, the season's over, or the season's not happening at all, and the school year is kind of being done remotely now, what was that like for you to kind of go through that at the end?
I mean, track's never been my favorite sport by any means. It's always been kind of love-hate. I'm not a big fan of just running, not much else, but it was still kind of disappointing to hear that because I also love to compete, and I thought this was a great challenge for me, especially at the AA level, sprinting and all that. The competition was significantly better. So I was really looking forward to that challenge. And had a good coach, and I was hoping I could maybe get a little bit faster and see where I was at there. But, I mean, ultimately it wasn't what meant to be. So, yeah, I've made the most of the situation we do have. But, yeah.
Asher Croy joining us. He's the subject of our Senior Spotlight, the Senior Spotlight presented by Blaine McElmurray and McElmurray Homes, as well as Mike Nugent from Berkshire Hathaway Real Estate.
Asher, it's interesting, though, because I'm sure that you were a guy that did track because you wanted to chase the football dreams, right? So, I mean, how much do you think, even if you didn't love it, it probably helped you in your recruiting. How much do you think it did help you, though? I mean, what sort of things did you learn in track that maybe helped you get a shot to play Division I football?
Oh, yeah, I think it helped me a ton, especially my junior year, because I know that's the big question mark a lot of colleges had told me they had was they weren't sure about my speed. And then I had shaved almost half a second off of my 100 time. We got down to 11.3, and once that happened, that definitely helped my stock a lot. And, you know, I mean, same thing for, like, both track and wrestling I both did to help make me a better football player.
What sort of stuff have you been doing these last couple of months? Because I'm sure that, you know, you've had to kind of get creative to be able to stay in shape and get yourself ready for when you report to the Grizzlies. So what sort of things have you been up to these last couple of months, just workout-wise?
Oh, I've actually been extremely lucky because I got a friend who has a nice garage setup. He's got a power clean, platform, squat rack, bench, plenty of plates. So I've lucked out there. So I've been lifting just like normal for the past couple months, 5 days a week. And then I found a couple hills to run. We've got our turf field, but I've been technically not supposed to be there. So every now and then sneak over the fence, just get some work in there. But I've found, finding stuff to do to get better for football or just prepare has not been very hard at all.
Well, good that you could find some hills. You know, it's better than if we were in Nebraska and then you'd be in a real tough spot. You know what I mean? You're able to find them there at least. Asher Croy joining us, just graduated now from Bozeman High School, going to play for the University of Montana, his college career. Asher, your father, Guy, a great Grizzly football player. Was there any option for you other than going to the University of Montana?
There actually was. There was a lot of options because, well, my dad has always been neutral, or not always, but once Hal came back, though, was kind of when he started pushing the Grizz hard. But I mean, he always let me know it's completely up to me. And even I knew that, like, I'd always been a Grizz fan my whole life, but kind of in the middle of high school, I kind of realized I can't be a fan anymore, and I have to start opening my mind up to everything. But,
okay, well, but that's interesting, right? Because if it is that, you know, you and your dad going to take like a long, sober look and like what is going to be the best thing for you now, here and now, and it still for you ultimately came down to going to the University of Montana. So what was it compared to other places that you know maybe had an opportunity to go? You're obviously in Bozeman that you said, this is the one.
I mean, it came down to a couple big things to me. Like halfway through my football season, I still didn't really have much of an idea. But like I loved Bozeman so much, the town itself. And so for a while there, I thought I was going to be going the other way. But the staff up at Missoula really took the time to recruit me harder. They made me feel like I was not only like wanted up there, but like I could actually make a big difference and that like I'm needed almost. So that just made me feel really good. And of course, like I kind of wanted to be like my dad at the end of the day and go follow his footsteps. But no, I love the coaching staff up there. I love the culture. I think this is definitely a team that's going to be on the rise for a while.
Do you get any pressure? Because there's been some Huntley Project guys lately. I know that you've been with Bozeman this last year, but a lot of Huntley guys lately that have gone to Montana State, and also some Bozeman Hawks have gone to Montana State too. So what did you think of this, the dynamic of some of your former teammates, or I guess current teammates, going on the other side? What do you imagine it'll be like playing against some of those guys?
Oh, I look forward to it a lot. I mean, I haven't really talked to the two Huntley Project guys that are at MSU. I haven't talked to for a while. They were kind of one of my jobmen anyways. Was before my time, but
right.
like Ryan Simpson and Chris Brown, they're both Bozeman Hawks, are at the Grizz right now, and they definitely recruited me a little bit, or pushed for me to go there a lot harder than the Bozeman and Huntley guys at MSU. And I got one of my other teammates from the project to go into the Grizz with me, and he was also really wanting me to go there. So that didn't affect me too much, but I always loved playing against my friends.
Asher, I think the average now is 9 times kids change their majors throughout their college career. I think it's up to 9 now.
Oh, wow.
But do you have though an idea of what you think you might want to study or take a look at while you're in Missoula?
Yeah, I got a solid idea. I think I'm going to major in history. I mean, nothing's set in stone yet, but I've always loved history and geography, like substantially more than any other class that I've taken. Like, I'm not a math guy, not a science guy. The only issue I'm having right now is there's not a whole lot of options for a history degree, but I'm fairly confident that's the route I'll be taking.
What is your what about history? Like, the subject in general is obviously a crucial one and a great one, but do you have a historical time period, place that you really get excited about, that you've liked studying and learning about?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, military history to me is the best. I don't know why. Ever since a young age, just like battles and things like that have always captivated me. Like, whenever we go back east, visiting like Gettysburg and Yorktown, like that stuff always just excites me so much. Like geography too. Like, I made an effort this year, and I can name every country in the world, like every single one.
This man,
I don't know.
When COVID's over, I'm giving you a hug, Asher. That's it. Okay, that's what I'm
This is Brian's claim to fame too. Name every country. Now there's 2 guys in Missoula, Montana that can do it. You guys better not go to the same party.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Good for you. Hey, Sporkle. Have you heard about Sporkle? You ever on there?
I've not.
Okay, Sporkle.com is where you go. It's all trivia. It's just a giant trivia website, and they got the maps, the whole geography thing. I'm telling you, this is my gift from me to you, okay? When you're not lifting, when you're not power cleaning, you can go to Sporkle, and you can brush up on your geography, okay?
Oh, yeah, I already got kind of something like that, jetpunk.com. That's how I learned it.
Which one?
Jetpunk.com.
Jetpunk.com. I'm writing it down right now. Look at all the free pub that we're giving out to the websites here. This is pretty good. Zoom has gotten a lot of pub recently. Did you see this? This is for UN Coulter, by the way. The 2 founders of Zoom, they just joined the Billionaires Club.
I bet you they did. I mean,
pretty good.
The only people that benefited from the corona was the Zoom guys.
Well,
sure.
And also Bezos, because that's how it is. Right. That's the way his life goes.
No doubt. Well, Asher, we'll get you out of here on this. What are you most excited for these next several years? What are you most excited for coming to the University of Montana and playing for the Grizzlies?
Oh, well, that's actually a great question. I'm kind of just excited for the whole experience. Like, right now, being an incoming freshman, I'm just excited to have the opportunity to compete and work my way up the depth chart and like team workouts, all that. I'm just so excited for like the dorm life, the campus. Like, I love it up there. I'm really excited to actually live there now, but there's so many aspects that I'm really looking forward to. Definitely outweigh all the things I'm not looking forward to, but yeah.
Well, Asher, we appreciate you being with us. We appreciate you being our senior spotlight. Congratulations on just an exemplary season, a state championship, 300 and change with 3 touchdowns in a state championship game. That's an all-time performance, my man, and we enjoyed watching you do it, and we'll look forward to you playing football in Missoula, Montana for your football career, and track you then, okay?
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
You bet. Asher Croy. As he said, it wasn't all him, certainly, and that was the case. I mean, they made holes and he was open, but I'll tell you what, he didn't miss once, man. Every time, really, 33 carries, 333 yards, 3 touchdowns. Do you get more trifecta symmetry than this? I mean, that's incredible. What a day! And he was unstoppable. I mean, there was just no answers for Butte in that football game for him.
I thought our conversation off the top with Chad Gerber, and if you missed it, check it out on the podcast. I asked him the question I've been asking everybody that cares for a long time. What happened to the prolific nature of offensive lineman prospects in Montana? And we've talked about the declining populations on the eastern side of the state. We've talked about, a variety of different things. Everybody in Montana is running a lot more spread concepts now. There's just different coaches. There's different values that are promoted to kids. But I thought Coach Germer's answer, so many big guys either don't play football, or if they do play football, that's all they play. I thought that was very interesting because I was thinking about it. Bozeman's offensive line I thought was so impressive, blocking in that game for Asher Croy. But when I hearken back to those guys, they are good players. I thought their center, their right tackle, and their left tackle were all 6'3", 6'4". They were all 275, 285 pounds. But I think the only Thomas Walkup, who's going to Montana Tech, wrestled. And everybody else, I don't think they played other sports. And so then they're really good right now. What's their upside, though? And I think that's what Coach Sherman was getting at. They're trying to recruit guys with massive amounts of upside. But that brings me full circle to about Asher Croy. He has a ton of upside because he only played quote-unquote big school football for 1 year, and he got better and better and better. I watched him 2 weeks before the state championship game against Sentinel in the playoffs, and he was good. But then he was outstanding in the championship game. But as he followed his season, he went from trying to find his feet, playing the AA level, to adequate, to great, to legend.
Yeah.
And I think that when you talk about like the track times, he mentioned it kind of in passing. I mean, he went from his sophomore year / the beginning of his junior year, he was running like 11.9, 12-second hundreds. That's nowhere close to being elite fast. It's plenty fast for a guy that's big like him. I mean, he's a big guy.
He is a big kid.
I mean, he's 6'1", 210. 12 seconds, you're moving pretty good. But to go from 11.9, like what was the first meet of his junior year, to 11.3, to save more than half a second off, that's amazing. That takes so much hard work, but also takes such blossoming athletic talent. I think the kid has a ton of upside. They listed him as a linebacker when they signed him. I don't know if that's going to stick. He didn't play much defense last year. To me, he's a natural running back because of both his size and speed, but also his vision. He's got great bursts before and through the hole. I think he's one of those guys where you're talking about upside. He's got a ton of potential. He never stopped getting better last year after raising up multiple levels of competition. To me, that's the type of guy I want to continue to develop. I think he's a really good get for Montana because I do know, we talk about who wanted who, and a lot of times the fan bases on either side say, oh, we didn't want him anyways, we didn't recruit him anyways. Sometimes that's actually true. The other school didn't recruit him. Both schools recruited Asher Croy.
Yep.
Both schools wanted Asher Croy. I think it's a good get for Montana, and even though he did miss his senior track season, I think that the fact that he gets to carry on and continue to play, it's cool for him and cool for his family.
Asher Croy, the subject of our senior spotlight. We do the senior spotlight the 5 o'clock hour every Thursday. Try and give some shine to those kids who maybe didn't get to have a season. He got to have his football season, not his track season, but also just kind of tip of the cap to all the seniors and the athletes around the state. And there's some great ones, and Asher, the most recent. The senior spotlight brought to us by Blaine McElmurray of McElmurray Homes and Mike Nugent, Berkshire Hathaway Real Estate.
But McElmurray, he's kind of similar to Asher Croy. He's a Class B athlete, grew up in Troy, Montana, but he knows exactly what it takes to make it at the top level. He's an All-American safety for the Grizzlies on UM's 95 national championship team before spending half a dozen years playing in the NFL. Blaine McElmurray has used those values of hard work with his endeavor in McElmurray Homes, Missoula's highest quality custom residential construction company. Since 2003, McElmurray Homes has helped construct and subcontract some of Missoula's finest homes. McElmurray Homes is committed to offering quality customer service, quality products, and the best prices throughout any project. McElmurray Homes also proud supporters of high school athletics around the state of Montana. And Mike Nugent for Berkshire Hathaway, the world of real estate, it continues to evolve, and that's more true now than ever. If you're a longtime Missoulian that's looking to upgrade or downsize, this might be your best time yet to sell. But if you're in a position to buy something new today, this might be the time where you can buy the best investment of your life. Either way, Mike Nugent is an expert when it comes to both residential and commercial real estate. He and the professionals at Berkshire Hathaway in Missoula have all your answers. To find out what Mike can do for you, give him a call today, 531-1802. That's 531-1802. And Mike Nugent reminds you to remember, every question is good to ask.
A family restaurant that has both breakfast and 2 happy hours? It must be Paradise. No matter what you are in the mood for, Paradise Falls has what you want. Open from 7 a.m. until midnight. Paradise Falls offers breakfast, lunch, and dinner while also serving half-price appetizers during their late happy hour from 9 until 11 Sunday through Thursday. The casino is open, the machines are hot, and Paradise Falls still has a standard happy hour from 3 to 6 Monday through Friday. Check it out at 3621 Brook Street in Missoula. Paradise Falls, Missoula's coolest hotspot.
Summer is here, so get out of the house and play some golf at the picturesque Canyon River Golf Club. Canyon River boasts a pristine 18-hole championship golf course sitting along the Clark Fork River in the beautiful mountain valley of East Missoula. The course is meticulously manicured and in perfect shape to give you the challenge and fun you're looking for. Visit CanyonRiverGolfClub.com to book your tee time online and save big all season. You've been cooped up, so get out and play at Canyon River Golf Club.
Now more than ever, we appreciate the value of relationships. Opportunity Bank has been serving Montanans and building strong relationships since 1922. With banking services for your family and your business, Opportunity Bank is with you as we move through these challenging times. For the latest information about how Opportunity Bank is working with customers and communities during the COVID-19 crisis, visit our website at opportunitybank.com. We are all in this together. Opportunity Bank of Montana, member FDIC.
Hey there, Colter Nuanez from Tootell Nuanez. I'm here with Tom from Aspen Sound. Window tinting is at an all-time high demand. So, Tom, how do people get a hold of you to get their car on the books at Aspen Sound?
Colter, well, at this time of year, we stay pretty busy with the window tints. So make sure just to give us a buzz, and we'll get you on the books. With the warm weather right around the corner, it's good to get in early rather than late.
Aspen Sound, located at 1300 West Broadway in Missoula.
Feel the music at Aspen Sound.
Have you heard? Darkness has officially been defeated. Yep, thanks to Liberty Electric, you no longer have to let the sun determine when your summer fun is over. From pathway lights to patio, deck, and yard-sized spotlights, the pros at Liberty Electric are like superheroes, adding hours of grilling time and memories to the family scrapbook. Improve curb appeal, make your home safer, and show darkness who's boss this summer. Call Liberty Electric and learn how outdoor lighting can work for you. 541-WIRE. That's 541-9473.
Burn Street Bistro invites you to venture out a bit to the west side. Open 10:30 to 2 weekdays and 9 to 1 for weekend brunch. Burn Street is serving up their new summer menu featuring the freshest local ingredients, daily breakfast and lunch specials, and as always, Missoula's best brunch with an ever-changing array of stupid good specials and all-time favorites like biscuits and gravy and veggie browns. For details on safety measures and updated menu, go to BurnsSTBistro.com. Not downtown, not Reserve Street, Burn Street.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
Good afternoon, Ryan Tootell, Colter Nuanez. Here's some sports news for you. In the most recent issue of Sports Illustrated, an article titled Game Change has predicted 10 major sports alterations that, as to the world as we now know it. The number one listed change centered upon the viability of non-revenue sports at the collegiate level. On Wednesday, that prediction became a reality in the Big Sky Conference. Southern Utah and Northern Colorado, two of the lower-budget athletic departments in the Big Sky, announced the cutting of their men's and women's tennis programs. The loss of the Northern Colorado and Southern Utah programs does not affect scheduling for the Cats or the Grizz because the Big Sky has split into North and South divisions for the coming school year, but it is a cause of concern for all Big Sky tennis programs and will affect the annual Big Sky tournament. The reduction in intercollegiate sports programs is one of many cost-cutting measures instituted by UNC Athletics. They are also implementing an ongoing university-wide analysis. Other moves include department and sports budget reductions, regional scheduling, and travel efficiencies, as well as some furloughs. Southern Utah and Eastern Washington, several other schools in the Big Sky are navigating similar challenges. Finally, the Chinook Sugar Beaters were the lone Montana team standing when the round of 16 voting for the online National High School Football Helmet Tournament closed Wednesday morning. The Glasgow Scotties, they fell out of it in the round of 32. Tootell and Nuanez. Happy to be with you on a Thursday afternoon. Thanks for being there. We appreciate all of you. At Gus Tootell, that's me. At 102.9 ESPN, that's the station. At Skyline Sports MT, that is Coulter and all that you ever needed to know about the Big Sky Conference. There at SkylineSportsMT.com on the website and at okay. SkylineSportsMT.com, the website, at SkylineSportsMT on the Twitter. That's how we do it, right?
Very
Get them
good.
both. Okay. Do you have any others?
At Coulter_Nuanez.
Yeah, but do you have a Instagram for Skyline or something like that?
Yeah, we do. I don't know what it is. My brother runs all that stuff.
Right. You just right. Just leave me alone.
I mean, I'll fully admit that I am an epic failure when it comes to the promotion of our business on social media. Anybody that wants to do some analytics and send me a bid, I'll hire you because God knows I will never figure it out.
It's
I'm good at the Twitter machine, though.
You are good at the Twitter machine, man. Absolutely. Linking people in that way, for sure.
That's easy, though, because that's providing information rather than shameless self-promotion.
Well, it's not exactly shameless. If
I always think to myself, man, that person's good at promoting themselves. And then I think, man, that makes me nauseous. Les, here we go.
Let me just hold this up, boys and girls. 2020 E.B. Craney Award winners for sports coverage. Tootell and Nuanez, the best sports coverage in the state of Montana for a count of 1, 2, third time. Bang. Okay, that's the award right there. Thank you to the Montana Broadcasters Association. I'd like to thank the committee. I'd like to thank my wife, my parents, my children, all the folks that helped me along the way to get to where I am, sitting atop the perch in the roost that I sit. How's that for shameless self-promotion?
Very good.
You ready for a blind side, buddy?
I'm ready for it.
Okay, it's your turn. I gave you one in the first hour about boxing. Now this is where Coulter returns the favor. I have no idea what he's going to ask me. Or what he wants to talk about. So here we go, Coulter. The floor is yours. Rock and roll.
It's a very straightforward, very open-ended question.
Okay.
What is the greatest false narrative and or biggest misperception that exists in the collective world of sports conversation?
That routine is important.
Do you want to explain this to people again?
No, I mean, that wouldn't be the one I'd pick. It's on the top of my head.
It's so contradictory considering you just went to bat for boxing for 15 minutes. Think those guys don't have a routine? Think that's not important?
You're confusing the word routine as I'm using it with something like preparation or working out or getting ready. Certainly you do those things. But I'm talking about the absolutely have to do 10 jumping jacks at 11:53 a.m., 2 hours and 19 minutes before the first pitch of your baseball game or whatever. That's when I talk about routine, I'm talking about it has to be identical, exactly the same every single day or else you're off. That's crazy. The biggest false narrative in sports, man. I mean, yeah, you didn't do me a very big favor in terms of narrowing it down a little bit.
I mean, what's a misperception that jumps to your mind right away? Do you need like an example to guide you?
I don't know. I don't know if I want to go down that road. I'll say this. I think that one misperception that people have, not just collegiate athletics in general, professional athletics, is that fans think it's way more fun than it is. It actually is quote unquote just work. I think it's fun to win. I think there's an enjoyment.
Wait, so you say fans think it's more fun to be a player?
Yes.
Oh, that's absolutely true. I hate to burst people's bubbles, but most players that play Division I don't think it's fun at all.
Exactly.
Like a large number.
That's right. And that's what I'm saying. Like the act of being an athlete, and whether it's a collegiate or professional athlete, there are fun moments, and playing the games I think is fun, but or fun at least to an extent, but it isn't the fun that you think that it is because as a fan and the enjoyment that you're having doing the thing. Now there's a lot that goes with it, especially at the professional level. There's social status, there's money, there's lifestyle, other etc. But in order for it to be truly enjoyable, you have to be a little bit left to center if you are an athlete, man, because it is an absolute grind and it's a ton of work. Somebody was interviewing Danny Carey. Oh, this was my brother-in-law. In fact, he was in a a meeting in a classroom setting, basically, with Danny Carey, who's the drummer from Tootell, and he is regarded by many as perhaps the best drummer on earth, certainly rock drummer at this point in time. He's about as good as it gets, okay? And artists, right, are thought of as being, these sort of eternally creative people and just always, it sort of comes to them and they pump it out there. And he said, look, man, you know what? This is work. Like, I do this. This is my job. Being a drummer is the job that I have, and I sit down and I play and I really work at it. And again, it doesn't mean that it's not fun, not necessarily, but also there's a whole bunch of it that isn't just like, oh, I felt inspired because I saw some sunset somewhere and I went and started hitting my drum set. It's just a ton of work to get good. And then even, the grind of, what if you're an athlete that doesn't meet expectations, right? Or something 100%. Like that.
It's one of the weirdest things that you go through covering guys.
So
is when guys, especially guys that are guys that are from Montana that play in Montana, or guys that are from Montana that leave Montana and then come back to Montana to play. It's such a bizarre set of expectations. One of my best friends in the whole world is a guy who went and played in the Pac-12 and then came back to Montana, and he had a great career all the way around. He started in the Pac-12. He's got a picture in his house of him blocking a shot of Russell Westbrook. He's got another picture of him in his house hitting a three-pointer in Hassan Adams' face. And he came to Montana, and he was a 2-year starter, averaged 10 or 11 points per game. And there was always this lingering, we thought this guy was going to be an All-American. And it's like sometimes the expectations are the overwhelming shadow. We've talked about this with the Lady Grizz program for the last couple of years. The biggest hurdle the Lady Grizz have is emerging from the shadow that is created by their success, living up to the expectations that have already been established within the program. It's the biggest challenge that they have.
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's the biggest, quote, false narrative or whatever, but that's certainly a misconception. It's what do I want to say? I don't know. It's disproportionate to the way fans see sports and the joy that we get when we watch sports and the fun of it and the excitement of it. Like, that is that is actually the exceedingly small portion of sports for athletes who are doing this as either professional or quasi-professional.
Here's one for you to consider.
Okay.
This is obviously position specific, but I think one of the biggest misconceptions among the average sports fan is that you have to be huge to play in the NFL. You don't. In fact, half of the league is not huge. They are certainly strong and fit and buff, but there's very few wide receivers that are over 6'2", 200 pounds. Most receivers are between 5'11" and 6'1", between 185 and 200 pounds. Most safeties are 5'10" to 6 feet, 190 to 200. Cam Chancellor is an anomaly. Most safeties look like Eric Berry.
Yep.
Most corners, are 6 feet. Now we've gotten to the point, too, where the 6'5" quarterback is sort of an anomaly, too, because half the good quarterbacks in the league are 6'2" or shorter. And, 3 of the 5 best ones are 6 feet or shorter.
Yeah.
And so I just think that a lot of people think, well, man, you got to be so big to play in the NFL. You do have to be so big to play defensive tackle. But who's probably the smallest starting defensive tackle in the league? The best one.
Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald is 6'1.5", 280 pounds. 280 that's big. But he's not, Anthony Adams, 6'5", 350. He's not Snacks Ferguson.
Yeah.
Snacks Harrison, excuse me.
You're right.
You have to be huge to play on the lines. There's no question. And you have to be abnormally big and tough to play linebacker. But there's so many dudes that are just 6 foot, 195-pound dudes in the NFL.
just 6 foot 195, 4.35.
Right.
I mean,
well, and it's not even that. That's the other misperception though too. Is most of the fastest guys ever at the combine are also not the best players.
No,
the best. Honestly, the best receivers, unless your name is Julio Jones, are the guys that run 4.5 because it's all about separation, spatial awareness, things like that.
I understand, but like again, 4.5, like we take it for granted.
Sure, so fast.
Like I mean. I make fun of myself all the time, okay? I got a bad foot, okay? I can't really run, okay? I understand that. You know what that is? Average. That's what I am. I'm average.
Sure.
You put me up there on
You're
a 40.
also 40.
I'm almost 40, and if I ran a 40, I mean, it's probably maybe I could do it in 7 seconds. I'm not kidding. Like
I know. You're not.
If I really like did it and went to do it, like I could 6.5, 7 seconds. Okay, so I have a mild handicap. Fine. You.
Yeah. No.
Could you go sub 6?
Yeah. I could go sub 6. I could not go sub 5.5 though. I'm for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I might bet the over on the 6.
I got better fast twitch than you think, and I also run a lot more than you think. My fat appearance belies my actual physical fitness
that's
level.
not true. I've watched you run, and I've seen.
No, you've never seen me sprint though. You've never seen me put my hand in the dirt and explode.
I mean, that is true. I have seen you explode.
And as weird as I am, I still do speed workout stuff fairly often.
Okay,
the biggest issue for most people is that you have literally not broken into a full sprint in years.
Well. That's
fully exerting yourself.
That's not true. It just people didn't know that's what it was.
No, I'm talking like you stretch it out before you're actually going to sprint this thing.
I mean, there's a good chance I don't get 10 yards down the field and pull up lame right there. I mean, if I actually went for it like that. But all I'm saying is you are right. People would be
all I'm saying
often surprised at how normal looking in appearance, like you're standing there, you don't have your shirt off, you're just there in your jeans and your jacket, and you go, well, you're an all-pro football player. Yep, because I guess what, they got their superheroes. They got a lot of things you can't see right there. Nobody knows that Clark Kent, Superman. Is that what it? Okay,
yep. It's the exact opposite for NBA guys though.
100%.
You cannot be in the NBA. There's maybe 10 guys in the NBA that aren't the biggest freak specimens walking on the planet.
I mean, you can almost name every sub 6 foot NBA player that's ever played. I mean, Allen Iverson, J.J. Barea, Muggsy Bogues, Spud Webb. Now, I'm not saying there aren't others. Certainly there are, but I mean, I might be halfway home. I mean, the NBA is dumb. These guys,
I think the only sub. I got to really go through the catalog real quick. I think the only sub 6 foot guy in the NBA Hall of Fame is Nate Archibald, and he's 5'11".
Well, is Allen Iverson not in?
Allen Iverson's 6 feet tall.
He ain't though, but yeah, I know.
And he's not in the Hall of Fame yet. He hasn't been retired long enough.
Come on. By the way, speaking of.
I mean, Allen Iverson's going in the Hall of Fame. Don't stress out about that.
No. I'm not going to stress.
He might already been, actually.
But let's talk about this on the other side. Speaking of retirements, one big time retirement today. We'll get to that.
He is in the Hall of Fame. I'm incorrect.
We will get to that right after this. Coulter, you and I got a chance to go to the Coeur d'Alene Golf Resort. We played round of golf, CDA Resort, CDAResort.com if you're looking for it. It is. It's as enjoyable a round of golf as you're going to find. If you have a friend who likes golf and you want to do them, a big solid, get them a round of golf at the Coeur d'Alene Golf Resort. If you like to golf, it's a great experience and it's a real memory. You can go, with families, father, son, mother, daughter, whatever it might be, husband, wife. You go over there, you stay in the hotel, you go play. And you come back, you ride a Standcraft boat, a great wooden twin-screw, beautiful boat out on the Lake Coeur d'Alene over to the golf course. What was your favorite part about golfing at the Coeur d'Alene golf course when we went, Coulter?
Well, first of all, playing with you.
Oh, thank you. It's very sweet.
I think that I enjoyed going having a match play that was tied 6 skins up for grabs, and then there's a par 5. I'm trying to remember the number. I believe it's either number 12 or number 13. The creek runs along the left side, and then it turns into a moat around the green, with the lake on the right side.
Yeah, it's 11,
and it's one where even if you smash your drive, which that was one of the few holes that I did, and you have to play strategic golf. So then it was, okay, I'm not losing this skin, so I got to hit my 7 to get it right by the moat, so that I have an easy wedge in. And I remember hitting on the green and getting the putt and winning the hole and getting all the skins, cutting the deficit. But there's a lot of holes like that where the bends and where the water it comes into play, you have to play smart golf, and it really challenges you mentally. But also, pristine course, if you do play smart golf, it rewards you because you're always going to have a wonderful lie.
That's right.
If you stick it on the green, it's going to roll true. It's a pretty sweet place to be. So go check it out over there in Coeur d'Alene. People forget it's only 2 hours from here.
That's right. It's very close, and again, if you're going on a road trip, cruising around, leaving, maybe you're in Baker, then it's more than 2 hours from you. But if you're heading that way, you might as well stop. It's a great place and an epic location on Lake Coeur d'Alene. CDAResort.com. Again, online, CDAResort.com.
Hello, Montanans. Times have been uncertain, but we here at the Montana Club have relished seeing how our communities have pulled together. We've been grateful to serve you delivery and takeout, which we will continue to do, and we are excited to announce that our dining room is open again. Thank you for supporting us during this time. We can't wait to see you and serve you all of your Montana Club favorites. As always, we are here for you. We are Montana. Welcome back to the club, the Montana Club, on Brooks and North Reserve, Missoula.
Hi there, it's Les Schwab Alignment and Brakes and Shocks and Wheels and Tires. Some tire places don't offer all that, but we do to help keep you safe. And during our Ready for Summer tire sale, save up to $110 on a set of 4 select tires. We're open, so stop on by or book an appointment at leschwab.com. Les Schwab Tires. Doing the right thing matters. Limited time offer while supplies last. Actual discount amount depends on tire size and type. Cannot be combined with other offers. Details at leschwab.com.
After a long couple of months, it's finally feeling like we're getting back to business as usual. But it's not the usual at all. At Missoula's Wingate, we are, as always, committed to giving you a relaxing stay at a great value. But we're also balancing the new guidelines like maximum pool occupancies and increased disinfecting to protect your health with a never-ending pledge to make you feel at home when you're not. If you find yourself on the road in the Missoula area, please consider staying with us at Missoula's Wingate.
Patients spoke, we listened, and then we took action. Convenient parking, easy drive-up access, shorter wait times at check-in. Yes, that's right. Missoula Bone & Joints Walk-In Orthopedic Urgent Care on Mullen Road now has its own dedicated entrance. Enter under the blue awning when you have an urgent orthopedic injury or condition. No appointment is needed. Come directly to the specialist and let us take care of you. Open weekdays, evenings, and Saturdays. Missoula Bone & Joint. Quality care from people who care.
Please join the City of Hamilton in celebrating Independence Day at Ravalli County Fairgrounds. Traditionally, the 4th of July has been enjoyed with backyard barbecues and fireworks. This year, put your feet up, let them do the cooking, and enjoy an amazing fireworks show. Enjoy the open space, fresh air, delicious food available for purchase from their local vendors while visiting with your neighbors, friends, and family while practicing social distancing. Come and celebrate your independence at the fairgrounds. To donate funds for the show, send to the City of Hamilton, 223 South 2nd Street, Hamilton, Montana, 59840.
The Montana Army National Guard salutes the high school graduating class of 2020. We recognize all your hard work and the resilience you've demonstrated during this historic time for our country. Those are the traits of a great citizen soldier. You can continue to stand out and be a leader in your community as a soldier in the Montana Army National Guard. Learn more about the benefits of part-time service in the Army National Guard at nationalguard.com. Sponsored by the Montana Army National Guard. Aired by the Montana Broadcasters Association and this station.
Tootell and Nuanez on 102.9 ESPN Radio for Missoula.
Welcome back. Tootell and Nuanez, 102.9 ESPN Radio, wrapping up a Thursday. If you missed anything in the show, you can check it out on the podcast. The podcast available wherever you get your podcasts. You can rate, review, subscribe. We appreciate it when you do that. Thanks for listening there on the Tootell and Nuanez podcast. It is there thanks to Blackfoot and Alpine Touch. Coulter, two things here. First of all, tomorrow is the radio host that precedes us last day, Will Kane. Finishes his run at ESPN tomorrow. Are we going to have to do like a thing when we come on right after his last deal?
I mean, I don't know what you're getting at. I don't think it matters.
Okay, good. So, no, you don't have to do a thing.
I don't think that Will Kane is really lighting up the airwaves in Missoula, Montana.
I mean, I don't know why you're saying it like that. I mean, you know.
I respect Will Kane's tactics. I hate his takes. Won't miss him when he's gone.
So this is a personal issue.
Oh no, I mean, okay. I don't know, man. How far down? You already dragged me down the rabbit hole all week long.
Don't. Here's the other thing. Vince Carter retired today.
Vince Sanity finally
officially said on the podcast on The Athletic that he will not be playing professional basketball again. So an interesting way to go about retiring, especially for a guy 22 years in the NBA, Vince Carter. Is this, I mean, more years as a professional basketball player in the NBA than not as a living, right?
Yes.
It's incredible. So, anyway.
Well, no, one more year because he's 43.
43, right? So 22 playing, 21 not playing. What a deal that is. That's the one, man, where, like, you know, transitioning out of a professional life, if you've been a professional athlete for 3 or 4 years, okay, you know, certainly there's something. If you've only ever been a professional athlete and you're in middle age now.
Right. Well, and
I don't know, 43 is middle age, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, what do you do?
And it's even more accentuated than that, too, because Vince Carter was one of the first high school phenoms. I mean, when he was in Daytona Beach, he was one of the first guys that was getting attention before the McDonald's All-American game. He blew up at the McDonald's All-American game. He blew up at North Carolina. He's literally been a star since he was 15. So you're not talking just 22 years in the league. He's been on the national radar as a basketball player for almost 30 years.
I believe he made the last shot he ever took, though.
He did. He's also the only NBA player ever to appear in at least one game in 4 different decades.
Unbelievable.
I cannot wait to 20 years from now, I will love to look back on Vince Carter and see the evolution of the way that he's remembered. Because I think he's had one of the most unique and polarizing careers in NBA history.
Mm-hmm. How many teams did he play for?
8. He's 19th in NBA history in scoring. But he never earned an All-NBA accolade. But he was also a 10-time All-Star. So, I mean, what a polarizing career. What an awesome career.
Boys and girls, enjoy your Thursday. We'll finish out the week with you strong tomorrow. It's Tootell Nuanez, ESPN Radio.
American safety for the Grizzlies on UM's 95 national championship team before spending time playing in the NFL. McElmurray has also used those values in his work at